Nobody told you that you were being trained. There were no lessons, no classrooms, no teachers standing at a board. But somewhere along the way, through environments that were unpredictable, relationships that required constant reading, and moments that demanded more from you than they should have, your nervous system quietly became one of the sharpest instruments in any room you walk into. And the reason why changes everything you think you know about struggle. Psychologists have started calling it traumatic intelligence. The idea is both simple and unsettling. Trauma doesn't only wound people, in many cases it also sharpens them. Research in developmental psychology suggests that children who grow up in unpredictable or emotionally complex environments develop a heightened sensitivity to social cues, emotional patterns, and nonverbal communication. Their brains, specifically the amygdala and prefrontal cortex, are wired early to detect subtle signals that most people completely miss. The result is a form of intelligence that looks almost invisible from the outside, but runs incredibly deep on the inside. Here are 8 signs you may have developed it. The first sign is that you can read a room before anyone says a word. You walk into a space and something shifts in you. A quiet alertness. You pick up on tension in someone's posture, a micro-expression that crosses a face for less than a second. This isn't intuition in the mystical sense, it's pattern recognition. Your brain was trained from an early age to scan for emotional data because at some point that scanning kept you safe. The second sign is that you sense other people's needs before they do. You notice when someone is struggling even when they say they're fine. You feel the shift in someone's energy before they've had a chance to process it themselves. Psychologists call this hyper-empathy, and it often develops in people who grew up tracking the emotional states of caregivers closely. You learned to feel others because your environment required it. The third sign is that you are an exceptional problem solver under pressure. When things fall apart around you, something in you goes calm and strategic. You don't freeze, you adapt. Researchers describe this as stress inoculation. Your brain is better calibrated for high-stakes situations because high-stakes situations were simply your normal. You step into a quiet, organized mode. You assess, you identify solutions, you act. What others experience as overwhelming chaos, you read as a puzzle to be solved. The stress you carried growing up didn't just burden you, it prepared you. The fourth sign is that you think deeply about human behavior, almost compulsively. You analyze why people do what they do. You replay conversations. You search for meaning behind actions that others don't even register. This wasn't random. It was forged by years of trying to understand unpredictable people around you. And the result is that you can often anticipate how someone will react before they've made a single move. You're not overthinking. You're operating from a deeply trained map of human nature. The fifth sign is the one most people misread entirely. The perceptiveness, the empathy, the analytical mind, none of these are weaknesses dressed up as strengths. They are genuine cognitive adaptations. What others label as too sensitive or overthinking is actually your mind doing something remarkable. It learned to process the world at a depth most people never reach, not out of luxury, but because your environment demanded it. The sixth sign is a quietly developed self-reliance. You don't wait for people to rescue you. You build solutions independently and without announcement. This surprises people who know you, but it makes complete sense developmentally. When childhood environments weren't reliably supportive, the brain internalized resourcefulness. Dependence felt risky, so competence became the default. You learned early that asking for help wasn't always safe, so you became someone who rarely needs to. While others look outward for guidance, you look inward. And that quiet independence often gives you a steadiness that others can't quite explain. The seventh sign is that you feel things more intensely than the people around you. Music hits differently. Injustice lands on a visceral level. A small act of kindness from a stranger can genuinely move you. The amygdala, when repeatedly activated through emotional experience, becomes highly sensitized. The result is a person who doesn't just observe the world, they feel it at a frequency most people don't have access to. That depth is both your greatest gift and your heaviest weight. You absorb joy and pain more fully than most, often without realizing just how much you're carrying. The eighth sign is that trust doesn't come easily to you, but when it does, it's profound. Your threshold is simply higher than average. Cognitive psychologists call this adaptive skepticism. Your brain learned early that not all signals of safety were genuine, so it built filters. Those filters can be isolating, but they also mean that the connections you do allow in tend to be honest, meaningful, and unusually resilient. You don't give trust freely, but once given, it is rarely broken. If you recognized yourself in any of these signs, understand this. You didn't choose the conditions that shaped you, but your mind responded to those conditions with something extraordinary. The intelligence you carry wasn't handed to you. It was built quietly over years through every moment that required you to be more aware, more adaptive, and more perceptive than you should have ever had to be. The word trauma carries weight, but so does the person it created. What you've been carrying isn't only a wound, it's also proof of how far you've come. Subscribe to Teeh Psyche for more hidden psychology every week.